Hello guys, it is Gate of Theories here, and guys, I've barely even gotten over Soul yet, but Pixar has now just dropped the brand new trailer for their upcoming summer release, Luca. And hopefully this Pixar film we can all finally see in the cinema again. Now, going into this trailer, I had no clue what to expect, as I know literally nothing about this film. However, the trailer reveals something about this film that I really was not expecting the film to be about, and that is that Luca actually takes place on another planet. Stick with me guys, because this is going to be a crazy and potentially true theory. But before we go any further, please make sure that you click that red subscribe button down below and have your notifications turned on so that you get notified every time we make a brand new Pixar video. So, the big point about the Luca trailer that I basically took from it was it basically revealed who the main character Luca really is. Him and his best friend, and there's probably going to be more, are all sea monsters. To me initially, they seem to be some form of male mermaid, which for some reason I didn't know was just called a merman. Like, am I the only person who didn't know this? Let us know down in the comments if I'm the only person. And currently, we don't really know much about these sea monsters, or Luca's species for that matter. We don't know whether they're part human or completely different, but the only piece of information we've been given about them is that the Italian town where Luca lives, these sea monsters are basically seen as evil myths passed down from generations, similar to the bears in Brave, and that basically everyone has a huge hatred for these type of creatures, which is why Luca cannot be found out whatsoever that he is a sea monster. And the only other thing that we know about these sea monsters is that they come from the sea monster world. Currently, the Disney wiki for Luca describes this place as, quote, another world just below the water's surface. And the director of Luca, Enrico Casarosa, has described the place as, quote, a hidden community. There is two worlds. The motion is a tiny bit more toward the human world. So clearly these sea monsters come from somewhere very different to the humans, and this got me all thinking. We're dealing with monsters, and the director has just called the world with humans the human world. Now, where have we heard all of this before? It's exactly what the monsters in Monsters Inc. call the world with humans. They've always called it the human world. So, is Luca from the monster world in Monsters Inc.? We know from the Pixar theory that the monsters use the door technology to travel back in time to the humans. Could Luca have done this, or Luca's ancestors rather? So I have basically two theories that could support Luca being from the monster world. Firstly, we know the monsters are basically just evolved humans and animals. We know that Luca can appear as human, but is also a monster. Maybe Luca is just some of the first evolved species to begin to transform from human and animal into monsters just before everyone else does. We don't know which monsters evolved first and from where they evolved, and they could easily be sea creatures with humans evolving first in Italy. However, I think this other theory is more likely, and that is that Luca, or rather Luca's ancestors, were some sort of monster experiment to learn more about humans. We may have gotten a Monsters Inc. prequel, but that didn't really look at the long history of how the monsters first began going back to the human world, and that is all currently still unknown. And since the monsters believe that humans are so dangerous, they would have needed some monsters to go through the doors in the first place to check whether they could A, harness scream energy, or to check whether the humans would be too dangerous for them to actually do it in the first place. So I reckon the monsters created some sort of creature that could disguise themselves in their true monster form, but appear human when needed to, so that the monsters could study the humans and see whether they're toxic or not. I mean, we see in Monsters University how advanced their science and technology is, and in the original movie, Randall literally begins studying human scream and how to extract it from kids. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the early days of Monsters Incorporated, they did create some sort of part human monster to test and see what threat they would be up against from humans if they did try and scare them. However, something clearly must have went wrong. Maybe they found out from this research that humans are toxic, so the project was just completely shut down, but the sea monsters that were on the other side in the human world were then trapped, and that's basically where Luca is descending from. It would explain why the monsters have gotten the research to think humans are toxic, and why they banish monsters to the human world instead. Now, it seems pretty crazy, but I think it could be believable, and it wouldn't surprise me if the monsters did do something like this. But I also have another idea as to where Luca might take place, because it's all good to see Luca as maybe a monster from the monster world, but in the monster world, all of the monsters are literally nothing like humans whatsoever. Even in sea monster form, Luca still kind of looks like himself. But there is one other movie that does involve strange creatures like Luca, but also ones that are part human. And that is the story of the two brothers, Onward. According to the Pixar theory, Onward basically takes place on another planet, and the creatures we see from Onward are again evolved humans like the monsters, but a bit different this time. And the theory states that one of these starliners, like the Axiom from WALL-E, landed on the planet and humans ended up settling there. And this is basically shown by the fact that the big mountain on the planet basically looks like the Axiom shape. Now, I'm not saying Luca necessarily takes place on the same planet as Onward, because in Luca, I really don't think there's magic elves appearing left, right and centre, but we can look at Onward as a reference point to think of how one of the other starliners might have landed on another habitable planet. We know there was a few starliners, with one being the Axiom we see in WALL-E, that left Earth with humans on it, and these humans would have been from across all over the planet, as we see no humans left by the time of WALL-E. That makes me think that if a starliner did land on another habitable planet, humans would begin rebuilding and bringing their culture to the new planet. That would involve Italian culture as well, so there is a very good possibility that on a new planet, they may build a town similar to the one they had on Earth to remember it by, which would explain why it looks like the film was set in Italy, even if we're saying it is set on another planet. And again, I have two theories for if Luca is secretly going down this route. The first theory is that when the starliner landed on this planet, the sea monsters, like Luca, already habited the planet in the first place, so they're basically aliens. Similar to our own history, where humans have found new continents where other animals were already living there, such as animals like the dodo. And I reckon that the humans were scared of these sea monsters, so they attacked them to survive. The sea monsters then have to adapt, which is why they try to appear as human, so they aren't killed by the new humans arriving on their planet. Which is why we see Luca can become a human if he wants to, and he's sort of basically an adapted alien. This would explain why in the trailer it seems like these sea monsters are such a huge myth, as if the humans have been on this planet now for generations. When they first arrived, it would have seemed as long ago as a myth or legend to appear, but to keep the sea monsters still alive, they're now all disguised as humans like Luca, because in the myths, they were all killed by the humans. The other theory, which I believe more simply because of Onward, is that the humans landed on this new planet, then gradually began evolving, and Luca and his family are basically the first ones to evolve, like the monster theory that we thought of before. We see in Onward that there is loads of different species of part animal, part fantasy creatures, but also many part human and animal creatures that have just generally and gradually evolved. Heck, we even see a mermaid similar to Luca in one of the very first scenes of the movie. And gradually society evolves with human technology, but evolved creatures such as elves riding planes or driving cars. Something very similar could have also happened on this other planet, and the reason why the locals are violent towards the sea monsters is because they're basically a new form of evolution that they're just not used to yet. But eventually everyone will begin evolving into new creatures like the ones we see in Onward. Maybe in this planet they're all water-based just simply because Luca is a sea monster. And there's one more big piece of evidence to suggest all of this film is taking place on another planet, and that is because of the director of Luca, Enrico Casarosa. This is his first ever Pixar feature-length film, and he's only ever directed one other thing for Pixar, and that was the short La Luna. And if you haven't seen this short, here's basically what it's about. It's about a kid with his dad and his grandfather who are on a boat at night. They see the moon and climb up the ladder to it and go and collect the stars on the moon. Already there's signs of space, moons and stars to suggest that this director could very easily like space and other worlds, and since his first short partly takes place in space, surely his full feature-length film might do as well. Not to mention, there's many parallels to La Luna and Luca, such as it beginning with them rowing on water and Luca is a sea monster, and the fact that the main character uses a similar animation style to Luca, and the father looks similar to another character we've already seen in Luca from the trailer. But anyway guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, make sure that you smash that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Out of these 4 theories that we've given you, which one do you think is true? Do you think any of them are true, or do you think we're just completely crazy? Personally, I like the idea of Luca being set on another planet because I love the idea of Onward being set on another planet, and I think it might work so well for this upcoming film. What do you think about the new trailer for Luca, and are you excited? Make sure you leave all your thoughts and theories on the film down below in the comments, and as always, we've been here at Gate of Theories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.